Welcome to Fantastic Vision. Please subscribe us before you watch today's video. As we all know, due to changes in the external environment, chip foundries such as TSMC and Samsung are currently unable to provide chip foundry services for specific mainland companies. The global operation of the chip industry has been hindered, causing more and more countries to begin to develop localized chip industry chains, thereby reducing excessive dependence on external supply chains. Against this background, the United States not only did not converge its controls on chip trade, but instead increased export restrictions on semiconductor equipment. Recently, the U.S. Department of Commerce's Deputy Secretary for Industry and Security Affairs appealed to South Korea, saying that the country's chip manufacturers should provide HBM chips to its allies rather than supplying them to China. Just after the speech was made public, South Korea suddenly made its attitude clear, and foreign media said that the situation began to reverse. It is understood that the HBM chip named by the U.S. Deputy Secretary this time is the abbreviation of high bandwidth memory, which means that high bandwidth memory is mainly used in AI chip products. A complete AI chip is often composed of three parts, namely GPU, graphics processor, advanced process packaging technology, and HBM, high bandwidth memory. Among them, HBM chips account for a very high proportion of the cost of AI chips, accounting for about 69% of the cost of the entire AI chip. Even Nvidia, the top AI chip giant in the United States, needs to purchase HBM chips from foreign companies and then hand them over to TSMC for unified packaging before it can produce high-end AI chips. The call from the Deputy Secretary of Commerce for Industry and Security Affairs of the U.S. Department of Commerce is to make South Korea sell all HBM chips to American companies, thereby restricting the development of domestic AI chips. South Korea suddenly made its attitude clear. Surprisingly, in the face of the aggressiveness of the United States, South Korea did not choose to make concessions directly, but directly made its attitude clear. According to reports released by the Korean media, the relevant Korean parties have sent representatives to negotiate directly with the United States on this matter. At the same time, South Korea also stated that because South Korea is different from Japan and the Netherlands, it cannot be 100% consistent with the U.S. export control. This means that South Korea will continue to strive for the right to ship to China, just like it previously strived for the right to build factories and expand production in China, to gain more benefits for itself. At present, if the United States wants to cut off South Korea's supply of HBM chips to China, it must promise to give the other party greater benefits, otherwise it will be difficult to achieve. There are three main reasons. First, the revenue of South Korean chip manufacturers mainly depends on the Chinese mainland market. At present, China is the world's largest purchaser of integrated circuit products. Many chip products are purchased by Chinese manufacturers and then processed into various commodities in domestic foundries for export overseas. Once the export of HBM chips by Korean companies is blocked, the first to be affected will be Samsung, SK Hynix, and other Korean companies. According to relevant statistics, after Samsung, SK Hynix, and other Korean companies won export exemptions, the export volume of chips to China has increased significantly. In the first half of this year alone, the output value of integrated circuit products exported by South Korea to China increased by 49.9%, reaching $65.83 billion. According to the data released by the South Korean government, mainland China has also become South Korea's largest chip exporter in the world. Second, once the HBM chip is broken and the supply is cut off, it will bring more competitors to South Korean chip manufacturers. Previously, domestic storage chips have successfully achieved a breakthrough in technology. The performance of domestic NAND flash memory chips designed by Yangtze Memory has reached the international advanced level. To put it bluntly, HBM chips are still a type of storage chips. As long as domestic-related companies increase their R&D investment, technological breakthroughs are only a matter of time. Coupled with various chip production lines that are already under construction in China, it will be South Korea's own chip companies that will suffer huge losses. Chinese chip companies will gradually find feasible alternatives to successfully replace Korean HBM chips. Third, South Korea has suffered enough in its previous chip strategy in cooperation with the United States. The United States previously called on South Korea to adopt chip controls on China, with the aim of raising the prices of related chip products through trade controls. But what was the result? The chip price was successfully raised in the end, but South Korean chip manufacturers did not get a bite of meat. After more than a year of continuous decline in chip exports to China, chip giants, such as Samsung and SK Hynix, had to adjust their existing production capacity due to serious inventory accumulation, and their revenue and net profit fell sharply. It is no wonder that foreign media analysts believe that the situation of chip controls in the United States has begun to reverse. After all, any company in the world needs to rely on revenue from overseas markets to support itself. They ignore the orders from Chinese companies and export all the chips to the United States and its allies, not to mention whether the other party has such a large demand. As far as the shipping price of chip products is concerned, as long as the products are in short supply in the domestic market, their purchase price is destined to be higher than that in overseas markets. Finally, the trade in the global chip market will eventually be guided by terminal demand. Although the United States has the world's top chip industry chain, it has lost its industrialization ability. If the chips cannot be assembled, there is no way to play their true role. Therefore, in response to this call from the top US officials, South Korea's response was unable to be consistent with US export controls like the Netherlands and Japan. To put it bluntly, South Korea does not want to continue to abide by the so-called rules set by the other party. What do you think about this? Welcome to leave a message and discuss.